Happy Wednesday, friends. My name is Idara Ekpoh, and I'm really excited to be back here on Adobe Live to bring you your pro tips for the day. Really excited. We're going to talk a little bit about hue and saturation and color, which is some of my favorite things to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started because we don't have a lot of time today, and I want to make sure I can at least get through this photo with y'all today. So I have this portrait that I took a couple of weeks ago, and the premise for this shoot was to just play around with colors. So I wanted to play around with complementary colors. He has the blue suit, red backdrop, which are complementary to each other. But while playing around and editing, I kind of wanted to see what other color combinations could we get, right? So I'm gonna, before I get started, what I probably should have done before the stream is to see if I can extend this backdrop because this is gonna bother me. So let's see if we can just do a quick generative fill. Let's see. Let that generate. And hello to everybody in the chat. I see everyone saying hi. Hi, Wade, Oliver, Frank. I hope you guys are all doing so well today. Okay, let's see what that'll generate. Oh, beautiful, perfect. Mwah, love it. So I'm gonna go ahead and merge these two layers together. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go down to my adjustment layers and I'm gonna click on hue and saturation. You're gonna have your little properties box here that's gonna pop up, and you have you have a number of different layers that you can focus on. So you can work on the master layer, which is impacting all colors, just your reds, your yellows, et cetera. So for example, if I were to go to the reds, you could see it's impacting everything red in the photo. So the blue suit is kind of staying the same, but you can see that in his skin, there's obviously red tones, and in the backdrop, there's red tones. I'm going to come here to the master just to kind of play around and see what it's going to look like. So if I come and play around and see, and just move the slider along, you can see that the hue is changing of the backdrop. Now, obviously, this is also impacting his skin. Now, usually what I know some people do is that they'll make an adjustment layer, or so they would like do a selection first. I am not going to do that first. I rather just figure out the color that I like, get my eraser tool, kind of zoom in a bit, and then come in here and just try to clean up the skin. Now it is going to take quite a bit of, let's see, this brush, let's increase the hardness of it. So I'm coming in here and I'm just gonna go ahead and try to clean up and take off this hue and saturation off of his skin, because we don't want him looking green. He had beautiful skin and we want to keep it that way. So I'm just gonna quickly do this. When I was originally editing this photo, I think I probably spent I don't know, y'all. I probably spent at least 45 minutes just on cleaning this up. So I'm just going to do kind of like a quick, messy cleanup and erasing all of this on his skin. So that way you guys can see what the color will look like. And let me know in the chat, have y'all played around with hue and saturation at all in your photos? If so, what ways have you played around with it? What is your favorite way to incorporate it into your workflow? Let me know. I'm quite interested. But I think it's just a great way to come and play around with color a bit more and see, kind of just expand and see how free you can get with color. And so for me, zoom in a little bit more. Let's go 70. I really love color, and instead of me trying to shoot this person in maybe different color suits and backdrops, which of course for me was going to cost way too much money, I just started off with two color combinations that I had access to. I knew that he had a blue suit already, so it kind of made things easy there. Oh, that's a little bit too much. There we go. He had a blue suit already, so that made things very easy there. And then all I had to do was kind of find a backdrop color that worked, which was the red. And then I knew, well, I didn't actually know that I was going to do this in the moment, but when editing it, I was like, you know what, if I want to play around, I could if I wanted to play around, then I could mess with the color in Photoshop, which is really, really cool. So you can have a bit more freedom. Let's see. Frank said, never used eraser on a mask, didn't even know how it works. Yeah, so I like to do that whenever I'm playing, whether I'm doing hue and saturation, selective color, and I'm playing around with colors that will impact the skin. I will just come in and just erase. I know that some people probably make like a selection ahead of time, but because this is impacting everything, I didn't want to like select them out and then invert. I don't know. I could have done that, but um, I like doing this because I feel like I get a very, very clean look by coming in and just erasing. Now, again, this would be me spending a lot of time to get these like, these little portions of his fingers that are a bit more in the details around his suit, things of that nature, his neck, but getting all of that. So, so it's just removing where you're focusing. So you can see here on my mask where the black is coming in is where you see the overall mask is white. Where the black is where the mask is not impacting the photo. So I'm gonna come in here. Oh gosh. Probably should have picked an easier photo for y'all. Okay, he's got some green in his hair. So for the most part, we're just gonna leave that alone. Then he has a green foot. We don't want that. So just using my eraser brush to just come in here and clean all of this up. Just brushing this out. So it's just kind of painting. So, oh yes, sorry, Wade, thank you for answering that. So yeah, it just kind of, it's a brush in its own. So it's not destructive in my point of view because, or at least to what I understand, because you're just kind of painting it back in. So I'm not doing anything outside of just painting back in that color. And Key said eraser tool is like another brush with its own setting. So using it on the mask is exactly like its own brush. Yes. So it's just kind of painting back in the color. I don't believe it's doing anything destructive. So if it is, please let me know. But my understanding is that we're just kind of painting it back in. So I'm not changing anything too drastically there. So gotta get up in the toes. Do y'all like to shoot your models with shoes on? Because I have learned that I do not. I tend to have them remove the shoes and go barefoot. I don't know what it is about being barefoot that I like. Thank you, Wade. Yes, it's not destructive. I was like, I'm not a technical girly, so if you're gonna say it's destructive, I'm like, oh, hold on. So I'm just gonna make, okay, so let's zoom out again. Again, you can see that there's still a lot of green around certain areas, but this was just a kind of quick cleanup. So that way his skin was still popping through. So you can see that's the before and that's the after. So now while editing this photo as well, you can also see that if I wanted to play around with the hue a bit more and just kind of see what other combinations I may or may not like, I could just drag the slider across and just see what I like. So maybe I like this kind of tealish color with the purple backdrop. Maybe I like the green and blue. Maybe I like still that red and blue that I had, but maybe I want to change the hue of it, or excuse me, the saturation and make it a little bit brighter and pop a bit more. I have a bit more freedom to do that. So let's see. What color combination do y'all like? I really think I like this purple and orange situation. I don't know what it is about it. It's just so nice. I'm really, really enjoying this. Oh, teal. Someone said teal is even better. So let's try to go back to that. Where was that teal? So like this, is this teal or is this green? What does teal categorize as? So we got like this kind of like greenish, tealish color, greenish blue with the purple backdrop and just sliding across. I really like this purple and orange situation. I don't know. I feel like it complements his skin a lot, but you guys can just see how quickly I was able to, well, not quickly, because I still need to go and clean up the mask a bit more, but how I can really play around with the colors a bit more, right? And if I wanted the saturation to come up, I could do that, bring it down a bit more. Let's see, I like it up like there. Lightness, I'm not gonna mess with, oh, maybe a little bit of depth in there by bringing the lightness down. Let's see. And that's our before and that's our after. From this point, I would just kind of come back here to my selective color and play around even further if I felt like I needed to. I could come to the magentas, which again will be the color in this suit. If I felt like I wanted to add some cyans or remove the cyans, I could play around with that further. And I have this one thing I really, really love about Photoshop for me is I just really love playing around with colors, right? And how you can really target colors a bit more. Um, Someone asked, Keith said, not familiar with this type of suit. Dinner/smoking jacket. I don't know where the suit came from. I cannot speak to the suit. He thankfully had the suit in his closet. I knew I just wanted to shoot him in color. And so I asked, do you have any colored suits by any chance? He said no, or he said yes, that I have, or his brother has this blue suit. So I was like, oh, bring it, because I know I can work with that. Because at the time of this shoot, I didn't have time to go to the mall. Even with going to the mall, they don't have like suits in this kind of color and fabric that I was looking for. Gorgeous in any color. He needs a whole set of these. I agree, Carol. I absolutely agree. I feel like any color looks so good on him. And so I'm like, why just keep it in that blue? Like play around with it. And I think that what I really loved was just how, again, how much freedom I have. And because I didn't have access to different color suits doesn't mean that I'm limited, right? So coming into this shoot, I knew that if for whatever reason I hated the blue and I didn't want to use the blue anymore, that I could at least play around and see how I can change it a bit to get what I would like. So that's our before and after. We just kind of deepened that, that magenta a bit. I'm going to come back here to selective color. Let's see what. Okay, yes. If I come to yellows, I can kind of play around a bit more with the orange backdrop, which this is kind of slightly, I can't tell if it's impacting the skin. I think his skin's oh, it is impacting the skin, which again, I don't mind it right now with the colors that I'm seeing. But if I felt like it was a bit too much, I could do the same thing because I'm on this blank layer or this white layer. I can use my eraser brush to kind of paint back in the complexion of his skin if I felt that I wanted to do that. But for right now, I think it looks fine. It kind of works pretty good there. So I want to keep this kind of deep. Let's see what that looks like before and after. Lovely. So let me play around here. Nah, I think I like where I had it. Yep, there we go. We're going to keep it there. So I'm going to group all this together so we can see that before and after. So that's before with the red and blue backdrop. And now we have this purple and orange situation happening here, which I just feel like complements. I don't know, I really like this. But if I wanted to, one of the ideas that I had for this photo, just to spoiler alert, was to kind of create a poster of this photo with different looks and just putting them all together. I think that's even the cover photo for this stream, is that I had different photos, and I had different photos put together so that way you could see everything collectively. But yes, so that's the before and after. And I'm gonna pull up one other image. Let's edit this one as well in Photoshop. So I also played around with him on a yellow backdrop. So I kind of want to see what that looks like as well. So I'm going to copy my layer. Let's see. Come down here to hue and saturation. Or let's see. If I'm going to actually do the select subject. Let's say I wanted to keep his suit blue. and I didn't want to change that. I'm going to select my subject and inverse it, and then go to my adjustment layers and click on Hue and Saturation. And again, you can see that it's already masked him out. So any changes I make to this, the yellows in the backdrop is only going to impact the yellow in the backdrop and nothing else. It could potentially impact his skin because he does have some yellow undertones in there, yellow and kind of reddish, but we're just focusing on the backdrop here. So on this example, I'm just going to actually go and click down on this drop down and come to yellows and just see what I can do here. So if I wanted to play around and change the backdrop color, I could. I kind of like this orangey type of ordeal. Or if I wanted to just keep it really bright and increase the saturation and really have it pop, I could also do that as well. Let's see. Let's go here. And I kind of have this idea where I want to expand this out and make him like really small. So let's do that. Let me go ahead and do, oh, okay. I was trying to zoom out, but it's going to generate that for me. Generating. Generating. Let's see what this looks like. Oop, okay, this is what I should have done. Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna actually delete this and do the generating first because as I'm expanding this out, it's not included in the selection that I originally made. So let me do this first and get the composition that I would like. I kind of want him just like small in the middle. Yeah. I like how he's kind of centered there. I'm gonna generate and expand the background first. Then I'm gonna go ahead and after I expand the background, then I'm gonna go ahead and select my subject, inverse it, and then kind of play around with the hue and saturation of the backdrop and see what that looks like. So we're gonna give it a moment. Give it a moment, give it a moment, give it a moment. Let it play around, generate what we would like. And bingo! Come on. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. It's still thinking. Uh-oh, don't give me the spinning wheel, please. That's never a good thing. Okay, I think it's almost done. I think I made quite a big selection, so I think it needs a moment to really think about it. So I'm not gonna interrupt it. Bam, bingo. See? That is done. Okay, I got a little worried for a second. So I'm gonna merge these into one layer just because it's easier to do so that way any selections I make, it's going to impact everything and not just the original photo. Wait, said 3, 2, 1. Listen, I said 3, 2, 1. Like, please work. I'm gonna select my subject, so it should be able to make a selection of my subject, which it did. I'm gonna Command Shift I, or you can go to I think select and inverse, and I'm gonna come down here, click on Hue and Saturation, and let's see what we got here. So I could just, if I'm on the master layer, I can play around a bit more and change free range to change the color to literally anything. Like I could do a matching blue. I could do like let's see. So we've got like another blue. I can do like this like purplish color. I could do the red again. So like as y'all saw in the other photo, I could do the red. I really just love the yellow. The yellow is just a really beautiful contrast for me. So I'm going to come down here to my yellows and see what I can do here. Just bring up the saturation or bring it down. I also haven't done really much color grading on himself. So that's another thing that I would come in here and do. But I really like the way that looks. And I like how it's kind of like this gradient that occurred. I didn't really plan for that, but I really like how it's kind of like a sunset gradient. So yeah, let's look at that. I'm gonna pull that up a bit higher. And then if I wanted to come here into selective color, and maybe change the yellow a bit more. I could, but I don't know how much. Okay, yeah, so you can see. Okay, let's bring out the magenta a bit. Add a bit more yellow. And yeah, I really want to encourage y'all to do passion projects because I personally have not shot in a very, very long time. And as far as shooting for me, not shooting for anybody else. So I'm excited about this project because I just had an idea and I personally am in this place and I love color in general. If you look at a lot of my work, it has to do with a lot of bright colors. And so I wanted to play on that a bit more. And so I think that creating a space for yourself to just create for fun, like this is not for anybody, this is for me, my portfolio, obviously for the model as well, so he could use this work too. But there is no limit to my creative freedom here. So I really love that I have that freedom because, there could be if I was working with a team, they'd be like, oh, we don't like this shade, or let's do this, or maybe it's too bright. But for me, I could do whatever I wanted to do, which is really nice because when you don't always have projects that allow you to do whatever you want to do, it can kind of feel a little like you don't have that creative freedom. So I definitely want to encourage y'all to take a moment, go and shoot, create your own projects, do your own thing and see what that looks like for you. Oh, I love this. Okay, I'm gonna group this together. And that is our before and after. Again, we didn't change the yellow, right? So I use hue and saturation in two different ways, right? In the first example, you could see how I just completely changed everything. Change the Oh yes, give the model a shout out. Of course, his name is Dang. I don't have his Instagram handle offhead, but his name is Dang, D-E-N-G. If you go through my followers and type in D-E-N-G, Dang, you should be able to find him. He is absolutely amazing, incredible model, so easy to work with. And so if y'all find him, give him a shout out. I will also probably shout him out on my story later on today and promoting this stream. So yes, I want to shout him out there because he was just so incredible to work with. So thank you, Keys, for that push to give him a shout out. I really do appreciate that because he's well and deserving of such. So again, so you can use hue and saturation in a number of different ways, not even just two ways, but I've given you two examples of how you can use it. You can use it to just fully transform everything, right? So there was no limit here. I didn't target one specific color. I just said, let me see what possibilities I could get here. And I landed, not we. I didn't really give you guys creative choice in this photo. I really liked the purple. But I was able to take it from that red and blue to this orange and purple magenta color, which I just feel like brought so much depth and just so much depth to the photo. And then there was just kind of enhancing and brightening and increasing the saturation or maybe changing the hue slightly of a color, right? So the yellow in this case, I just wanted to play around with that. If I wanted to, let's say, come here and do another hue and saturation, I could come to my blues, which again, there's no other blues in this photo, so I'm not going to worry about making a selection for this because the only blue that you'll find is in a suit. So if I play around here, you could see how I can kind of get different color combinations, make it more of a teal if I wanted to, deepen it. You can really play around with what that looks like, which I think is really great because again, there's so much freedom here with color and you get different combinations and it just really looks so cool. So I love this. I really do hope that you utilize this tip and just play around with colors more and just see what that looks like for you. So you can see here, the blue now is a bit more of a pop. It's not as dull as it was. It pops a bit more, which is what I wanted with this specific shoot and with this photo. So again, if y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, please do provide it to me. Wade, thank you so much for dropping my website or my Instagram. You guys can hit me up on Instagram or website, whatever that works best for you. Again, I want to encourage y'all to utilize hue and saturation in your work. Play around with colors. Be a kid. Essentially, when I play around with colors like this, it makes me feel like a child again. And so I want to encourage you to tap into your inner child, play around with colors and just see what you get and the beauty and the results of just that freedom. So until next time, I will see y'all later and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.